and he's going to house it.
It's amazing. Absolutely amazing.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Quick Six as we head into Week 10 of the NFL season, Week 11 of the college football season. Brian, we are just 2 weeks away from the game. We are 3 weeks away from conference championships. We are like a month away from like all these impactful games and figuring out who's in the college football playoff. And I can't believe how fast the season's going by. We talk about it every year. It takes a long time to get here, but my God, once it's here, we're off, we're running, and there's no stopping this train. Let's recap the week that was before we dive into the week that is. Not a great week all around, but those Service Academy unders are the best thing. 43, 9, and 1. They keep lowering the number.
And why do they keep posting this at 40?
Because the math and the number that gets spit out from their systems tells them that's the number, and they should be going over. But because they're service academies, because they want to be respectful to one another, because of the way these games play out, it's absolute smash. Army Navy will be coming up in a couple weeks. The total will be gross, and you will take the under, and you will cash that. I will be on it. You can ride with me. It'll probably be like 33, and I'll be very excited to hammer the under. Shouts to the Tigers of LSU. You guys not only went in and covered that number, but you won at home. Huge win, impressive win. I haven't believed in LSU all this season long, and frankly, we'll see if I'm on that train again this week. But hell of a win, and a hell of a win by Notre Dame.
Yes,
I've always been kind of skeptical on Clemson. I always feel like they're better than they are. I feel like that team is coached weird, and I feel like DJU, he just isn't it, despite we've seen flashes of kind of optimism. So overall, not a great week, but my big 5-unit play helped salvage the week. Minimal loss. I'm happy to get out and keep my bankroll rolling, and we'll get back to it. Hopefully cash a few more this week. Brian's card, on the other hand, it was just not the week for our guys, Brian. You are on the Bills, laying the big number. I said we could bet alt lines. If it wasn't going to come to fruition, the Jets were going to win, and sure enough, the Jets came out and won the game. So nice work, Jets. The Colts team total under.
I should have went way heavier on that.
Yeah, that was the move. And now Jeff Saturday is there.
Oh gosh. Yeah, they're a mess.
Between them and the Raiders, like the two most mismanaged franchises, that game should be interesting. I think you take the Colts this week, and you just hope that it's like 6-9, and you get out there with a nice cover. And the Vikings.
The last pick on my card, honestly, is the most frustrating one of the week because the Bills one was never close.
It was never in doubt.
And obviously, I hit the Colts. I should have went heavier on the units. But the fact that the Vikings could not score more than 20, and then they also got a free 1st and goal from a penalty on a field goal to win the game. And instead of just punching it in for a touchdown, obviously they just went for the win, and they just wound the clock down and kicked a field goal to get to 20. So talk about like a bettor's nightmare. You're sitting there needing a touchdown, and they're just sitting on the ball.
I think they call that right side wrong result. And obviously those can be frustrating, but those are the cards that we get dealt with sometimes. That being said, we have 6 more picks for you guys this week. 3 college, 3 NFL. We will dive in. Brian and I have our picks ready to go, and I will take the lead as we go to Arkansas, where the Razorbacks are a 3.5-point underdog at home. LSU is a better team. Brian Kelly has this team going in the right direction. But after a tremendous win against Alabama, a huge rivalry spot, now they go on the road to face this Razorbacks team that looks like it has quit. They were an absolute atrocity last week. And you know what's going to happen, Ryan? Arkansas is not only going to cover, but they're going to win this game outright because college football is drunk and we need more chaos. Arkansas is one of my favorite plays this week. I think they figured it out. I think they put it together. Sam Pittman has that team ready. They just need to cobble some stuff together. So I will take the Razorbacks plus 3.5 for the show purposes. I also think the money line is very much in play. If you want to sprinkle, baby. Your first college football play, the Tennessee Volunteers minus the 20 versus those Missouri Tigers.
Yeah, I think this is a situation where very similarly to one of the reasons why you could go with Arkansas against LSU, with the LSU Tigers coming off a very emotional win against Alabama and Arkansas coming off of a pretty disappointing loss. I mean, that's even saying it the least. And so you kind of go into this game with Tennessee coming off of an absolute drubbing by Georgia, where they got put in their place.
Yep.
Missouri's defense has been playing really good this year, but they're not going to be a match for this Tennessee offense, who, yeah, some of their guys were banged up during that contest, but I really think they get back on track. This is being played in Knoxville. I don't think Missouri has any kind of offensive firepower that can keep up with this team.
Totally agree. Tennessee's offense works so much better when they can establish the run and then you do play action pass off of it.
Yeah.
And that was just not the case last week against Georgia. They should be much, much better this week. But Tennessee first quarter bets have been absolutely crushing all year. I think you get back to that. I think you go Vols, maybe even first half. Like I think I'll be heavily invested with the Vols this week. I think that bet makes a heck of a lot of sense. I'm going to go with your running back, Mr. Blake Corum, over 132.5 rushing yards. I probably should have hit the over last week, but because of the score and where the game was at and their kind of long-term ambitions, 20, he got 20 carries. He could have easily done it. It was a little bit rough and go initially. I think he crushes it this week. I think Michigan team total makes a ton of sense. And I think Nebraska is just good enough to push Michigan and make this a little more interesting, where they can't pull the starters by halftime or so. So I think Blake runs over. I think Nebraska's rush defense is really terrible. They're outside the top 100 in terms of rushing yards allowed. So they're allowing all kinds of up and down the field rush yards. So, and
Not
I know
good against this Michigan team.
Yeah, and I know JJ McCarthy will see his work, and I know they have the backups that will come in, but I think Corum gets to 140, 150. And, as a player that hopefully will be representing the Michigan team in New York and potentially winning the Heisman in a year where like CJ Stroud and Hendon Hooker are your quote unquote favorites, like there's a very open window for someone else to step in. So if Michigan sees that, they think, heck, if even if we lose to Ohio State, we can get Corum to New York, maybe win the Heisman Trophy, and that will be a hell of a season for us. So I think he crushes this number. I think he has a really monster game here and looks really good doing it. So Michigan team total, Blake Corum yards, all that good stuff is good with me.
I want to add to this the fact that the last time Nebraska played a road game in the Big Ten, it was in Purdue, and they gave up 178 rushing yards to Devin Mockabee, and that's a Purdue offense that they're pass first.
Yep.
Now they're going up against probably top 10 rushing team, top 5 rushing team in all of the nation. For Blake Corum, who's had, I think, 20 or more carries in like 5 consecutive games, he's going to destroy this number.
100%. We'll switch thoughts. We'll go to the NFL, and your first play, the Chicago Bears minus 2.5 versus the Detroit Lions.
I just think this is a case where Detroit's offense, it's very flashy. They got names. They put up a bunch of points earlier in the season. They're just not there. There's no continuity with what they're doing there. Jared Goff is still Jared Goff. Chicago is playing at Detroit's defense is not going to be able to stop this new Chicago offense. Justin Fields running all over games, looking like a combination of Newton and Lamar Jackson out there. And with a week under their belt practice, I think you see Chase Claypool get a little bit more involved in the offense. I think that opens it up a little bit more. And I think that Chicago's able to cover this.
Well, Brian, bad news for you. The Detroit Lions are going to be covering this game. Justin Fields, it's been awesome watching him finally get unlocked and have the ability to make big plays and to run up and down the field and do all these awesome things. But you know what that hasn't been happening? They haven't been winning. The Dolphins, they lost to the Dolphins 35-32. They obviously got dump trucked by your Dallas Cowboys. I think this is a competitive game, but I think this is one the Lions find a way to win. They are getting healthier another week with Amon-Ra St. Brown. DeAndre Swift hopefully will be a full go here after being, but we'll see what Dan Campbell does there. But
Exactly.
I think they do enough. I think the Detroit Lions money line is very much in play. But I will take the +3 even at -115. If the Bears win, it's like an ugly 2-point game, and maybe there's a world where you win and I push or something. But I trust the Lions to do just enough, and I trust the Bears to be just Bearsy enough,
Just be the Bears.
just to not cover this game. So
Yeah.
your third and final pick is the under in the Giants versus Houston Texans. Talk to me about that.
The Texans offense is trash, and
Yeah.
the Giants are getting healthier on the defensive side of the ball. They've been limiting teams pretty good this year. They've played a bunch of decent opponents, holding most teams to round low 20s and in the teens for that matter. I mean, yeah, they gave up 27 to Seattle, but we've seen that was in Seattle and Lumen Field, whatever the hell you want to call it, for a rejuvenated offense.
Yeah.
They kept Jacksonville under wraps, who the Jacksonville offense has looked a lot better this season. And I think that Houston's pass defense will, like, their corners are more than capable of covering the Giants' poor wide receiver core, so they can commit more guys to the line of scrimmage.
But Kenny Golladay is back this week, so that might be a game
scary.
change.
I think Houston played pretty good considering everything against Philadelphia, whose offense is head over heels better than what the Giants present. So I think that this is probably more so in like the high 20s, low 30s by the end of the game.
I like that call quite a bit, and actually don't mind, a combination of Texans plus 4.5 or 5 plus the under. I think this is a close game, probably a field goal either way. A lot like kind of what we saw with the Titans, but Saquon and Dameon Pierce have their time in the shine, and then just kind of a gross game. Maybe both offenses struggle, kick a few more field goals than you expected. Yeah. 17-13 makes a lot of sense. Texans cover, Giants win, under comes in, everyone's happy. All right, Brian, we got our picks in. Let's recap the card. Let's give the people our units for each bet, and let's get the hell out of here. I'll start going pretty vanilla across the board. So Arkansas plus 3.5 versus LSU, putting 3 units there. Blake Corum over 132.5 rushing yards. That's -114 currently, putting 3 units there. And the Lions plus 3, putting 3 units there. I have 1 extra unit. I kind of want to put the Lions money line on there, but that seems like a bridge too far. So 9 units in play this week, going 3 on all of them. That's my card. Brian, what's your card? What are your units?
So I got the Tennessee Volunteers. I'm laying the close to 3 touchdowns at -20 against Missouri at -110. I'm going to play 3 units on that. I feel pretty strongly about that play. Bears, I'm getting that at -2.5 at PointsBet right now. So, I mean, you could kind of middle this and maybe you push, I cover. That's -115. So you got to pay up a little bit, but I'm going to go 3 units there. I do think Chicago's the better team. And then the Giants and the Texans under 41 over at BetMGM -110. I'm going to place 2 units there and leave 2 units on the table for hopefully not expose myself to too many more losses.
Yeah. The good news is, Brian, we'll at least get 1 win out of this. Overall on the season, I am 18-12. Brian is 13-16, but he's making some headway. So we'll see. We'll see who's right at the end of the week. That is Brian Twining. I am Kyle Robert. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll talk to you next.